Morning all, this is the scene I've woken up to this morning. It's been raining since quite early this morning. In fact, I woke up at 5 and lay listening to it for an hour before I got up. So it's alright because the weather forecast is for this to clear by 8 and for the sun to come out by about 10. Oh, well, as you can see, I'm on my way up the Thames. I've just come through Goring Lock. I was moored below Goring Lock last night, and I was waiting for the manned service to come on, but it didn't. And just as I was getting ready to leave and go through, a couple on a boat came ahead, opened the lock up, and they got me through. So that's another very helpful couple. We're on our way again. I didn't quite have time to get all my bits and pieces ready before I left. Normally I make sure I've got drink, food, etc. up here, on here, so I can have it to hand on the way. And it's very important, particularly, to make sure you've got plenty to drink. Just spotted the low clouds over the hills there. That's beautiful. Well, that was Clifton Lock, again unmanned, and now there's nothing until we get to Wallingford, above Wallingford, as far as locks is concerned. There are some nice spots to have dinner by the river. Don Giovanni restaurant, and wide stretches like this have often got sailing clubs on them. Luckily they're not active today, or we would be in their way. But as you can see, the river is very wide at this point. Just coming into the little village of Molesford, pretty little village, and on the left in the distance, just in front of the boat there, you can see a marina, and that's a very handy little marina with a very good little chandlery, and they sell ice creams as well. So if you're here in the middle of a hot day, that's quite handy. They have a little cafe and ice creams, and a very good chandlery with a good selection of bits and pieces in it. So well worth a look if you can. And still in Molesford, here's this magnificent house. It's probably been split into more than one now, but what a wonderful property. And the church. Very beautiful. So that's Sheridan Marine and the Boathouse Chandlery. Water, gas, chandlery, ice cream, drinks, gifts. I don't think they sell diesel here, but other than that, they've got pretty much everything. Molesford is also well known for its boarding boys prep school. Poor little kiddies get packed off here age 7 to board away from home. Just going through another one of these brick skewed bridges. This one's particularly impressive. I think the original bridge behind us was faced with stone, and then they built again a second bridge to expand the capacity of the railway. This one that we've just gone through here. Just occasionally you see an old working boat on the Thames, an old working narrowboat. There are some up on the Oxford Canal actually, and this is one of them. This is a fuel boat, diesel boat. So he's moving, isn't he? Lovely old timber boathouse. And there's the property behind that it's attached to. Well, that's the Wallingford bypass, and that means we're nearly in Wallingford. It's on the south side of Wallingford as you head up the Thames. So next stop, Wallingford. Every time you come through these bridges, the graffiti is different. This huge rowing club building here is the first sign that you're in Wallingford itself after the bridge of the bypass. And the town comes up very quickly. See, it says distance to moorings 400 metres. There are moorings by the bridge in the town. They do fill up very quickly, so if you want to get on them, I'd advise getting there before 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, here we are approaching the bridge at Wallingford. On the right here you can see the moorings at Wallingford. They're often very, very full, very, very quickly. There's 1 or 2 spaces now, but that's probably because boats have just left. There is also this lovely pub here, the Boathouse. So if you're moored up and you don't fancy cooking, that's a good place to go to. If you have come through and there weren't any moorings available at Wallingford, this place on the left bank here is actually quite deep in close to the bank and very good for mooring. So just past Wallingford you can tie up against these trees alongside the towpath. So that's quite a handy tip for you if you should be coming up this way and you can't moor at Wallingford going upstream. Just after Wallingford on the left you can moor. Here's a little navigational note for you. I'm sure you probably know this, but if you see green buoys going up the river, keep them to your right, and red buoys going up the river, keep them to your left, and obviously coming down the river it's the opposite. So coming down the river, if you see green buoys, keep them to your left, and red buoys, keep them to your right. That means it's very shallow in there. Don't go in there, you will run aground. So these markers keep you to the left to go into Benson's Lock, which is what we're approaching now. That's the first lock for ages. We've been going a long, long while, about an hour and a half now, without any stops or delays. So coming into Benson's Lock, nice big weir, so it's quite a big drop at the lock. You can see the weir over there on the right. And the drop on the weir is usually the same as the drop in the lock. So quite a deep one. Right, just coming into Benson Lock. I'll let them sort themselves out and then fit in where I can. There's a huge boat behind me, so hopefully we can get in here. Just above Benson Lock there's this cafe and a huge boatyard which hires out all these vast boats. So having got past this, it should be a bit quieter up the river of them. Right, we're just coming up to Shillingford Bridge. Stunning boathouse to the right. And in the summer, during the holidays, on the left you'll see a lot of people on these picnic benches. Usually very busy here. There's a car park and people come down to the riverside. So here we are. I've taken enough still photos of this house over the years as I've come past. And there's an old barge, derelict on the side there. But anyway, back to the houses. Just zoom in for you. Absolutely amazing place. I don't know if you can see, but there's an estate agent's sign on the landing stage here, and I actually checked out the particulars, and it's not the big building. It can't possibly be because it's a smaller house. I think it's 4 or 5 bedrooms.
and that big house must have 10 at least. So what was it? No, three bedrooms. So it's probably the smaller house behind here. But it was only just over £1 million, which I know it's a lot of money, but you would have thought it would have been more than that with the riverside moorings. But that place is just, oh, that was the one there, Stratton Parker. Yeah, it was surprisingly reasonable. I think that big house has been split into two, so possibly even 3. And look at the boathouse. I mean, what a property. What a place to live. Just amazing. Although you can't see it, just in the distance there's a few roofs. In front of us is the Roman town of Dorchester. And the River Thames enters the Thames at Dorchester, and you can see the mouth of the river. We'll show you that as we go past. It's not navigable except by very small craft. I think that means a lot smaller than my little narrowboat. I think it means canoes or something like that. But anyway, I'll show you the mouth as we go past it. Well, there's the mouth of the River Thames under the bridge on the towpath. And I reckon if I put my canopy down, I could probably get up there, but I'd probably also get stuck. So I don't think I'll try. Yeah, I seriously think only canoes could get up there, really. It's very, very weedy. As you approach Days Lock, there is a sanitary station on the left going upstream. And then I'll just turn the camera around and you can see the footbridge. And just come across here, hopefully you can see the lock in the distance. And there's a boat coming in to come down, so we'll get a short break, which is great. I need a break, I need to do some bits and pieces, get some more food ready. Always important, keep yourself hydrated and full. One of the many pretty lock cottages, that one's 1924. So Days Lock, up we go. That's me there. There's a really big gun emplacement. Again, part of the Thames defences. So behind us, as we come out of Dorchester, you can see a conical hill with trees at the top, which is called Whittenham Clumps. And that's a very noticeable landmark from miles around. So you'll see that from various different angles as we go around the loop by Abingdon. And the other noticeable landmark in the distance is a power station that supplies Oxford. It's over there somewhere, can't really see it at the moment, but once the trees clear we'll see the cooling towers and there's the chimney. That's visible from miles and miles around. And you see it from a variety of different angles as we go around this very large meander near Abingdon. The river goes in a huge meander, unfortunately. Instead of going straight for 2 miles, it goes 5 miles around. There's no avoiding it, we have to go that way. So, oh, that red kite's attacking the boat, look. No, it's not, it's grabbed something out of the water. That's a shame I didn't have a longer lens on that. Fishing red kites. There he goes. Don't know if you can see him. But he swooped into the water and grabbed something. Fantastic. Just a lovely scene. I'm just going to show you the next section of the river that we're coming to. So we're coming in here, and we're going to go around here, and if there weren't this huge meander, it would be about 1.5 miles between these 2 points. But there isn't a bit of river there. We have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 miles round. 8 miles round to get the same distance through round past Abingdon. It is a very long stretch, this. It is broken up by Culham and Abingdon Locks. Abingdon Lock is very nice lock to go through. There's water and toilet disposal at Abingdon Lock, so that's a good one to stop at if you need to for the services. I'm more stunning riverside properties. What a lovely place to live that would be. Remote, but a very, very nice spot to live in. And beautifully kept. Got a bit of a mole problem there though by the look of it. There are some fine, fine houses along this stretch of the Thames. Need a pretty penny or two to have a place like this right near Oxford. Lovely family homes, really quite spectacular again. Going round in these meanders does strange things to your sense of direction, because that's Whittenham Clumps over there, which was directly behind us before, and now it's over to our left. It's not behind us at all. Behind us is something else altogether. So yeah, you can see the same site from several different angles as you go around the big meanders near Abingdon. It can get quite disconcerting, but don't worry, you haven't gone crazy, it's just the way the river goes. This is Clifton Hampton Bridge. Yes, some of the big boats can get through here. There's surprisingly quite a lot of headroom. I'm going to go for the right hand of the arches, because I don't need as much headroom as they do. And very shortly we'll be coming up to Clifton Lock. Now in the distance you can see the power station that was on our left before, and it's now on our right. That's what the meander does to you. It moves all of the landmarks around, and you've got no idea whether you're coming or going. And this big loop round Abingdon, which is 8 miles long, takes about 2 hours to do in a narrowboat at 4 miles an hour. And yeah, you've just got to plod on through it until it's done. That's all you can do, really. So here we come out of Clifton Lock, and very helpful as ever, the lock keepers. Thank you. Now the power station is directly in front of us. Yeah, it keeps on moving around, this power station. They just won't stay put, will they? Here's something you'll see quite often on a hot day. Cattle just cooling themselves off in the river. Very British rural scene. Red kites have spread since they were reintroduced. He's just gone behind the trees now, but they've spread across much of the country. From Bedfordshire, I think they were introduced in. About reintroduced about 20 years ago. That's a crow. But now you see them everywhere. There's a kite in the distance by the bridge. And this is the Appleford Railway Bridge. About 1.5 miles to Culham Lock from here. We just chug on. Just got to get your head down and get through this stretch. It's quite difficult, very long. Just plod on through. In front of us, you can see that kite chasing the pigeon. Wow. I hope I got that. It's a hawk and a kite having a fight. There's the hawk and there's the kite, and they are not happy with each other. I'm not going to be able to film this, so I'm going to crash the boat if I carry on. Keep heading towards the bank. So there's the road bridge on the left, and we're coming into the Clifton Lock channel. And then the next lock after this is Abington Lock, which is a place you can top up with water, etc. Boat's just coming in, so I think there'll be 3 of us going into this one. So in this one we had a whole team of people on hand to grab our ropes and direct us in. Just coming into the outskirts of Abingdon now. Have to avoid all the rowers who go tearing up and down the river with their shouty people following them in a boat. Right, well we've come past all these houses on Ferry Walk and lots of moored boats as well, and we're just coming up into Abingdon proper now. There's the old anchor inn. And that is where the Oxford Canal used to join the Thames. That goes from Devizes on the Kennet and Avon. We used to come up to here from Devizes on the Kennet and Avon Canal. And on that bridge it says, erected by the Wilton Berks Canal Company AD 1824, cast at Ackermans, Bristol. Not much evidence left of the Wilton Berks Canal, but there's some. And what a lovely riverside scene we have here, just as we approach Abington Lock. Lots of people sitting under the trees there, taking advantage of the shade. Plenty of moorings on this side of the river going up. Ring bolts in the ground so you don't have to put your pins in. Quite convenient really. We'll just be going on up through the bridge and through the lock. Here's a little steamboat, Chimera, moored up against Magic Dragon. I have heard that they won't sell you diesel here, or let you fill up with water either. Right, just coming through Abingdon Bridge. We'll be at the lock in no time. There's another little blue and white sea otter just like mine. Well, we're heading, I suppose, north-east-ish up the Thames. Couldn't show you Abington Lock because my battery went flat just before we got there, sadly. Abington Lock is one of the nicest, most helpful set of lock keepers you will ever find. Really nice, charming people. So we are just above Abingdon now, and you can see a motocross track in the distance. If you're at the weekend, there's often bikes flying up and down those tracks on the side of the hill there under the pylons. Right, this is the Newnham Rail Bridge. I don't know whether it's used anymore or not. It doesn't look like it, but you never know. There might be some real traffic over here still. Doesn't look like it's been maintained in a very long time. It's really rusty. Wider again here now, the river. More amazing riverside properties. So if that's the boathouse, what does the house look like? I've been on this stretch for ages, and I don't know if you can see the canoe off in the distance there. But other than little canoes and the boat I was in Abingdon Lock with, I have not seen another boat since I left Abingdon Lock, apart from moored up boats. I've not seen a boat on the move. Very, very quiet here. Not a soul on the river really, apart from these paddle people. Right, coming up to Sandford Lock. There it is in the distance. And it looks like it's manned, which is a good job. Because running up and down these locks on your own and managing your boat is very, very difficult. Kind of celebration going on here. Railway bridge, and it doesn't look like it's been used in a very long time. There is a lot of greenery growing in it, but it looks in better condition than the other one we passed, and that wasn't being used, or was being used even, because I saw a train go across it just after I went under it. Now ahead of us is the Isis Bridge that carries the A43 across the Thames. And that means that very soon we're going to be coming up to Iffley Lock, just after those moored boats in the distance under the bridge. And there is Iffley Lock. Not much of a drop this one. You can see the weir to the right. That is the drop. You can tell by the height of the gates actually quite often. So that was Iffley Lock, and we're now coming out of Iffley Lock and heading on up the Thames. Sorry about the pan. And the next one I think is Osney Lock. Osney Lock it is. And that is in Oxford itself, in the town. So this is where all the University College rowing boat clubs are. And there are a lot of them. I can't imagine what this is like when they're all here and it's all busy. Well, we've just negotiated our way through a whole load of punts and rowing boats that were blocking the river, and now we're approaching the Folly Bridge. In Oxford. And I'm going to put both hands on the wheel for this because it's quite a tight corner afterwards. A bit of a strange section coming up now. We go around the back of these houses. And this is the Osney Railway Bridge. And there's a canoe coming underneath it. Well, I don't know what that other railway bridge was, but this is the Osney Railway Bridge. The other one must be a disused bridge. So just this next straight section and we come into Osney Lock. Okay, take the right hand channel for the lock. This is Osney Lock. There is a lockkeeper on duty. So these look like Victorian warehousing. The middle bit does anyway. This looks new, it looks like 1930s maybe on the right here. But these old ones look sort of Victorian. And you can see where you'd moor up. Bathers and boats are warned to keep clear of water intakes. Okay. There's plenty of mooring rings on here. And only the Victorians did brickwork like that. Danger, low bridge. Non-legible sign. And it is low, it's low. I'm glad I put the screen down now. That's Osney Bridge done. This parade of Victorian cottages backs onto the Thames here in Osney. And a lot of their doors open out onto the Thames as well. Sadly no mooring, no rights for mooring. And on the other side it's allotments, so there's no mooring there either. This is very narrow here, the Thames. I mean, it's as narrow as many canals are. So at the end of this section you can see that bridge. If you want to go down to the very bottom of the Oxford Canal where it starts in Oxford town centre, you turn right here and take that bridge through the Isis Lock and onto the canal. But that's not such a good idea because there are a lot of lift bridges and it's very, very slow going on the Oxford Canal in Oxford. So your best bet is not to go down there. You keep going up the Thames. And the reason you do that is simple. The Thames is wider and it's faster. There are 2 more locks on the Thames, and then you turn right down the Duke's Cut and that takes you to the Oxford Canal at the edge of Oxford town. So you don't have to go through all the slow bits in the middle of the town and under all the lift bridges. This section of the river is really very overgrown. You have to keep swerving left and right to avoid branches scraping down the side of your boat. It wouldn't be very good in anything big, that's for sure. But then you're not going to get anything big under Osney Bridge, so it doesn't really matter. You do find a lot of people swimming on the banks on the right hand side because it comes down very gently and it's quite sandy, so people come and swim here a lot. So again, here's the wider section where people come down to the edge to swim all along this meadow, but it is very shallow, quite a long way out, so the rule is stay in the middle. If you don't want to go aground, stay in the middle. Right, we're just coming to the end of this very broad section, and you can see there are buoys in the channel here showing the right hand edge of the channel, and on the left as well. So there's a very narrow channel leading up to Godstow Lock, which is now visible in front of us. Now, I don't know if the blue sign on the lock, not the one that says lock but the one next to it, is visible to you, but that says self-service, which means I've got to do the bloody lock myself. What a pain. I've just come through Godstow Lock, which sadly wasn't manned, and here we have the remains of Godstow Abbey on the left bank, heading upstream. It's amazing to think that these buildings were ordered destroyed by Henry VIII some nearly 500 years ago, and yet the walls of many of these old monasteries and abbeys still stand. Like this one. Right after the abbey we come into a very difficult bridge with a skewed turn angle to get through it. It says we need to go through the right hand arch, so that is what I shall do. To get right the way across and then kick the boat through sideways. Well, here up in front of us we have King's Lock, and this was going to be my last lock. Well, this is my last lock on the Thames for now. Last time I came through it was manned, and there are moorings on the far side, on the right hand side, really nice moorings to stop on. I was hoping it would be manned today, but it appears it is not. So I'll just have to do it myself. Same old story. Not much of a lock this, at least. Well, not only is this a self-service lock, but it's also one that you have to wind the paddles up and down manually. And the gate has a broken beam at the top. What have we got here? A full lock. So I'll have to empty it first. Oh, it is empty already. That's it. Okay, that's handy. Let's open the beam. Very long beams on these, because they're very big gates. But actually the length of the beam makes it really easy to open. Just a lot of steps. There we go. A bit like Blake's on the Kenneth and Avon. Now I've got to put this all the way back down again. Right, now I've got the boat in, shut the gate, open the paddles at the top, and we can stop for the night, which is what I'm planning on doing now. God, these are heavy to close. Oh, it does weigh 2.5 tons after all. That's what that 2,600 kilos means. It's the gateway's 2.5 tons per gate. There we go. Now you walk up the other end and open the paddles, sluices. As you can see there, I've opened one paddle, and I tend to only open one when I'm doing a lock on my own, so I can get back and control the boat. However, you may have noticed that if you open the paddle on the same side as the boat, that's the one with the red indicator up, it tends to push the boat into where it is already, and it stops the boat from being pushed across the lock. That water coming through this side goes to the other side of the lock and then pushes the boat in. So it tends to behave better. It's coming forwards a bit now. So we'll just hang on to it here and make sure it doesn't wander off across the lock. It's about halfway up already. Still a little bit of swirling water there, but the pressure's probably almost equal now. I've had enough for today, and I've moored up on the payable moorings at King's Lock, which is a nice spot, as you can see. Very well kept moorings here. It's £7 for the night, so I'm quite happy with that.